This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this Friday night. I'm Jay Cohn.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. Questions swirl in Washington over how a small Montana company won a multi-million-dollar contract to rebuild Puerto Rico's electrical grid.
Those questions reaching the White House today as Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke huddles with President Trump.
Following today's meeting between the two, both the White House and the Interior Secretary disavow any involvement in the $300 million contract for tiny whitefish energy.
And late this afternoon, Interior Secretary Zinke putting out a response to what he calls false reports alleging that he may have had ties to whitefish energy. Zinke says he had absolutely nothing to do with whitefish energy receiving a contract in Puerto Rico.
He goes on to say any attempts by the dishonest media to tie me to awarding or influencing any contract involving whitefish are completely baseless. Only in elitist Washington, D.C. would being from a small town be considered a crime. Tonight, still more answers and questions regarding this deal for which no one wants to take responsibility. Among
the latest information, Homeland Security's Office of Inspector General has started an audit of this contract. That contract includes language that says, in no event shall the Puerto Rico or U.S. government have the right to audit or review the cost or profit elements. So joining us now live from the White House tonight in Washington, CBS's Seth Lemon. Seth, Secretary Zinke says he had nothing to do with this contract for the Whitefish Energy Company. What sparked the questions about his potential involvement, do you believe?
Jay and Jeanelle, well, those questions were prompted by the connections that were found between the secretary. The former Montana congressman is from Whitefish, Montana, and so is the company's CEO. Secretary Zinke's son also held a summer job at one of the company's construction sites. So really, it's the optics of these potential connections here that prompted these questions as to how the federal government handled this award of $300 million to a tiny company that had been in business for just about 2 years.
Now, Zinke has absolved himself, and even FEMA is not claiming responsibility. So how did this deal actually happen, and what's the response from the White House tonight?
Well, the White House says that this was a decision made by state and local leaders, made unilaterally by Puerto Rican officials. And Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said during her press briefing today that President Trump asked Secretary Zinke if he had any involvement, and the cabinet secretary denied being or playing any role in this at all. Now, the Trump administration, of course, they want to distance themselves from this issue, from this controversy, especially as multiple congressional committees are launching investigations into this, and bipartisan criticism is growing on Capitol Hill. In fact, just a couple of hours ago this evening, Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi released a statement calling for the termination of that whitefish contract immediately.
Very interesting. South Secretary Zinke getting a lot of attention these days, many of it negative. You think it appears the secretary's job could be in jeopardy?
You know, Jay, I wouldn't say that just yet. There doesn't appear to be anything concrete that shows the secretary did anything wrong. But of course, this is more controversy that the Trump administration doesn't need. So for now, the White House, along with his department and he himself, denying any involvement. And as you mentioned, the Department of Homeland Security is having federal auditors review that contract. They're also going to be looking for any inappropriate relationships. The secretary says that he welcomes any and all investigations.
CBS's Seth Lemon live at the White House tonight. Thank you, Seth.
Well, in Zinke's statement today, he said he encourages the Interior Department's Inspector General to review the matter, and it looks as if the secretary may just get his wish.
Next week, 2 House committees will begin looking into the controversial contract. The House Energy and Commerce Committee and the House Natural Resources Committee will also look into the issue.
It has been a tumultuous week in Washington, where the president, in open warfare against senators within his own Republican Party. Montana's Republican Senator, though, Steve Daines, says he's not concerned about the intra-party fireworks. In fact, he says he's expecting big things from Congress in the coming weeks and months. Our chief political reporter Mike Dennison spoke with Senator Daines today.
Earlier this week, Republican U.S. Senators Bob Corker of Tennessee and Jeff Flake of Arizona teed off on President Trump, calling him untruthful and saying he's doing more harm than help to advance the GOP agenda in Washington. But Montana's only GOP senator, Steve Daines, doesn't see it that way.
He is a business-minded president. His career was spent in the private sector. And he wants to see Washington, D.C. move at the speed of business, not the speed of government. And consequently, it creates some friction points. But I think he has been getting a lot done.
Dan says the Trump administration and the Republican Congress are working to roll back regulations on business and are prepared to advance major tax cuts and reforms.
I think you're seeing the president is moving forward with his agenda, and you're going to see a unified Republican Congress move forward here, I think, on tax reform by the end of the year.
An actual tax bill hasn't been released yet. Daines promises it will benefit the middle class, create more jobs, and boost the economy. Regulatory reform and the anticipation of these tax cuts, he says, are fueling a stock market boom that foresees future economic growth. He also says Congress may pass significant reforms in forest management policy, aimed at speeding approval for logging and thinning projects he says will help reduce wildfire intensity.
So I think we're seeing a wide spectrum of conservation groups, Republicans and Democrats getting behind these forest management reforms. And I'm cautiously optimistic we'll put something across the goal line here before the end of the year.
Yet while he's predicting action by the GOP Congress, Dan says don't expect it to be easy or without some conflict.
Politics is a contact sport. In fact, I'd argue it's a collision sport. And that's part of the political discourse. And the president's very clear on what he thinks. He campaigned that way, and the American people elected him, and he's governing that way as well.
Reporting from Bozeman, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thank you, Mike. Republicans are promising to release their tax bill very soon.
23 years of serving the Yellowstone Valley and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Those are the lasting impressions of the now-defunct Good Earth Market Co-op in downtown Billings. Last Best News reports last night members voted 89-10 to dissolve the co-op. Debts stand at more than $500,000, but assets total only $150,000. The co-op board says all employees will be paid for hours worked and paid time off, but most creditors will not get paid. That includes vendors of goods and services who are still owed nearly $200,000. The store also owes the IRS and the state $37,000 in unpaid taxes. Another $65,000 in member loans will also not be paid. Now, the only creditor that will see any sort of payment is the National Co-op Grocers Association, which is still owed $225,000, not including interest.
A very memorable morning. Breast cancer survivors and caregivers packing the Q2 studio in pink for our 8th annual Survivors Breakfast.
Q2 Samantha Harrelson takes us to that special event.
Here we go. 1, 5, 5, 3, 8, 8. Go!
It's a vibrant community born from a dark diagnosis.
To share with everybody, because everybody's been through the same journey, just to have that in common is just, it's incredible.
This is Jenny Chef's very first Survivor's Breakfast.
I finished on Tuesday, my very last chemo. It was like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. It was a little scary because I don't have any more doctor's appointments lined up. It was just what's next, and what's next is I get to go back to my normal life.
For women just finishing treatment to those 30 years cancer-free and those still fighting, the very cancer that threatens their lives is also the thread that binds them together.
It really is hard, and so you really do need to have somebody to help you along the way.
Diane Bertrand is a vision of pink power, a longtime breast cancer survivor who now dedicates her time to helping others on their journey.
Cancer has been in my family, and it's just something near and dear to my heart. And Mondays and Tuesdays, I volunteer now at the Infusion Center up at Billings Clinic. I need to give back to the wonderful care that I received there, and also the people that I meet. It's just amazing.
Unfortunately, this little community, it just keeps growing and growing, this survivorship, or the people that are diagnosed and fighting, and there's more people diagnosed every day, and it's so scary.
But for today,
do you want a little bit more? Okay.
The horrible disease sits in the shadows as love, laughter, and a whole lot of pink take its place.
Wonderful!
The pink ribbon, a badge of honor, a symbol of hope, and a reminder that you never have to fight alone.
155.
With photographer Paul Humphrey, Samantha Harrelson, MTN News.
As we said, a memorable morning. Thank you, Samantha.
Up next on Q2, ski season will soon be upon us, and you might need some new gear.
Yes, I might. And although there's no snow, you could score some good deals this weekend. In a moment, we'll check out the wares at the Ski Swap.
And I'm Casey Conlon at Dayla Stadium. Senior against West in the final regular season game of the year. What more can you ask for tonight? We've got a full preview coming up in sports.
And coming up in the weather, we had 26 degrees for our low this morning, but what about tonight? It looks like it's going to be not quite as cold, but it is going to be cloudy. Coming up next week, looks like we'll see maybe some wet and cool weather ahead. Details coming your way in a few more minutes.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire and sports with Scott Green.